After the flood this spring, the Grand Falls generating station was in ruins. Construction has been going on all summer to repair the damages caused by the flood. Diane Cole is in Grand Falls, has more on the story.
This is a familiar sight in Grand Falls. Workers have been putting in extra hours to fix damage caused by the flood in April. Daniel Gaudette is the project manager.
This plant is normally run by a staff of 6 people. During the course of construction, we peaked at somewhere around 180 or more employees on site.
Water gushed through these gates and wreaked havoc on the equipment inside the plant. Water levels were 4 feet higher than in the last major flood in 1979. The bulk of damage was in the generating hall, where the water turbines are kept. Water and debris filled the hall after the forceful current blew open its main door. Keith Cronkite, the hydro manager for this region, reflects on the impact of the flood.
There was a lot of uncertainty and concern from the employees' point of view. You know, did we do everything we could? And certainly they had. And then where do we start from there? You know, what do we do next in order to start to get this facility back in working order?
One of the major tasks for this project is rebuilding this retaining wall. The wall was seriously damaged during the flood. Gaudette and Cronkite say this new wall will provide the plant with better protection against a flood of this magnitude in the future. When construction is done, the wall will be 26 feet higher here and 18 feet higher near the powerhouse. Extensive work has also been done on these high-voltage towers, where the threat of water was the greatest.
Behind me, we also had to do quite a bit of work to the switchyard that included replacing all of the breakers. And in the process of doing that, we also took advantage of doing some modifications to make sure that this type of thing wouldn't have a big impact on our equipment in the future, such as raising the equipment up higher in the air.
There isn't a final figure yet, but the cost of this project is expected to be somewhere in the $15 to $20 million range. This experience demonstrates how important hydro is to the province. The project is scheduled to wrap up in the coming weeks.
By the end of October, this will be a rare sight. The amount of water that goes through these gates when the plant is operational is only about 5% of what it is now. This is Diane Cole reporting for Stu Journalism.
Thanks, Diane. Stay with us.
Coming up after the break, more about text messaging on the road. Welcome back. A recent study shows the latest distraction for drivers. Jamie Ross has more.
There's a new hazard for motorists on the province's roads. It's not alcohol, it's not drugs, it's not even talking on your cell phone. According to a study conducted earlier this month, text messaging has become the road's newest danger. Matt Brown works at the Department of Transportation in Sussex. He spends over an hour per day in his car, driving to and from work. Brown admits that he texts messages when he's behind the wheel, even though he knows it's dangerous.
Well, I mean, unless you can text without looking at the screen, you're going to be completely distracted, not paying attention to the road. I mean, in a city or on the highway, that's dangerous.
Police say people like Brown who text message while they drive put themselves and others at risk. Constable Andrew Miller of the Fredericton Police Force.
And with more and more vehicles on the road, you have to be more concentrated or paid attention to what you're doing while driving. And that includes driving while talking on your cell phone, or worst case scenario, text messaging, which I think is even worse than that again. So.
The British study conducted earlier this month says that text messaging reduces driver reaction time by 35% and steering ability by 91%. Drunk driving, which was also tested, shows only a 12% decrease in driver reaction time. Miller said more needs to be done to educate the public about the dangers of text messaging while driving, something many people see as a minor issue.
Through the media, as far as television commercials, newspaper ads, public service announcements on the radio, and sadly enough, even the stories of where people have been killed or injured.
While Nova Scotia has a law banning drivers from using cell phones behind the wheel, New Brunswick doesn't. Something Miller says has to change. For Stu Journalism, I'm Jamie Ross.
The New Brunswick Sports Heritage Center was filled with eager learners on the weekend. Corinne Frost has more on the story.
Students and adults gathered at the Heritage Center this weekend to learn about central issues in our society and how they can be changed. The Weekend Forum was part of an annual event held throughout the world. One of the organizers, Alex Corey, says the purpose of the forums is to show that there are things we as a society can do to make our world a better place.
The World Social Forum is a response to the neoliberal capitalist economic development model that is spreading around the world, and it's founded around the central theme that another world is possible, one where humans cooperate in order to make sure that everyone's needs are met, and that we don't need to allow free markets to do that. We can manage things democratically.
The two-day event was attended by many local experts who spoke about issues such as private healthcare and media-based lies.
There was a lot of media coverage in the first years of the war, and most of the time it came from the U.S. There were Canadians like Louis Mackenzie who told a somewhat different story, but strenuous efforts were made to silence and discredit him with some success.
The forum was organized by different activists from Fredericton, St. John, and Moncton. Corey says he got involved with the forum through other organizations he's in.
I'm a member of the Fredericton Peace Coalition and also a member of the Conservation Council of New Brunswick, and I'm active on both. I'm active in volunteering for both of those organizations, and so I met people through those organizations that are involved in the organizing of the New Brunswick Social Forum and that had been involved in the original Social Forum.
Organizers in Fredericton had a good turnout at the provincial forum with lots of people pre-registering. And while the organizers haven't yet talked about planning another one for next year, Corey is hopeful that this will become an annual event. For Stu Journalism, I'm Corinne Frost.